Well, ladies and gentlemen, the day has come. Tonight is the night Dial of Destiny releases in theaters, and it's time to review the movie before we get to that one. And that, of course, is 2008's Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, also directed by Steven Spielberg. Like the first three, it came out about 20 years after The Last Crusade. And even at that time, it was like, okay, this is probably not going to be good as the other three, but it still has all the ingredients. Harrison Ford, George Lucas is involved, Spielberg's directing, John Williams composing. But unfortunately, this movie turned out to be hands down the worst in the franchise. That might change tonight. We'll find out here after I go check out the new one. But it wasn't only the worst in the franchise, it's kind of bad. In isolation, if it wasn't an Indiana Jones movie, I would say it's a decent adventure movie, a few laughs, but it's stupid, it's forgettable, it's overbloated CGI, and it's very cringy at times, and more bad than good. But hey, oh well, it killed a couple hours, never gonna watch it again. But as an Indiana Jones movie, it's really, really bad in comparison to the original three. So right off the bat, one of the biggest fears comes true when it comes to modern sequels to 70s and 80s classics, and that's just the look. It's too glossy. It's too CGI-ish. It's too bright. It looks fake. Even when it's not fake, it looks fake. That's a distraction the entire time, but the story, the dialogue, not that great. Sometimes it's just straight cringe. There's lines of dialogue that included in this movie, and I don't even know why they're there. Like, is that supposed to be funny? I don't know. So the whole movie's just off. It's just off. And it really does at times feel like an Indiana Jones fan film, except the budget is way too much for a fan film. But just the overall look, it's just like, I don't know what happened. Obviously, the writing wasn't that competent, but it wasn't all the writers' fault. The CGI prairie dogs, I don't know if that was in the original screenplay or whatever, but they keep showing up completely out of place. And it opens the movie with that. Not in line with all of the epic openings of the other movies. So, I mean, I like the direction of going to Area 51, the alien-related story, which, I mean, some people hate, understandably, but, you know, Indiana Jones always has some supernatural element, and, you know, you got to find a new direction to go. Aliens, okay, it's not that far of a reach as compared to some of the other storylines that we've seen, so, and I'm someone who's always enjoyed alien culture, okay, movies, theories. It doesn't mean the movie's good just because I kind of like the topic. I like the 1950s neighborhood that Indy found himself in, even though at first it looked like this is way too bright, way too colorful. This looks just weird. But we find out it looks so fake because it was fake. It was a fake town with fake people, which was like super creepy. And it's about to get blown up by an atomic bomb test. So it was a cool setup. Pretty thrilling for a few moments, wondering how the hell he's going to get out of this situation. But the way he does is getting into a refrigerator, which gets blown up and thrown miles and miles away. And I don't know how Indiana Jones survives. I mean, I know he survived some crazy stuff, but this is a little bit overboard, to say the least. Like, there's no possible way, but okay. We get to see him teaching again briefly. That was a cool moment. But he gets placed on indefinite leave. That's when he meets Mutt Williams, who is like a young greaser dude who's constantly offended, trying to act tough. And it's kind of cool how sometimes Indy will like tell him, like, dude, calm down, kid. Like, just stop it, dude. Don't get offended over everything. Like, relax, dude. Stop trying to act like Mr. Tough Guy. So their relationship early on is pretty cool. And obviously there's going to be spoilers in this review. I'm just kind of running through this movie here where the new one's coming out tonight, and I got to finish the review series, so we got to talk about this crap. But spoiler alert, he ends up being Indiana Jones' son. And there's some rare good humor in the movie. I like how early, when he doesn't know that he's his father, they're talking, and Indiana's like, Mutt is like, he wants to fix motorcycles for a living, and he dropped out of school. Mutt's like, you got a problem with that? And Indy's like, no, if that's what you love doing, you do that, and don't let anyone tell you different. But the second he learned that he learns that he's his actual father, how come you didn't finish school? You're gonna finish school. And then there's a couple little funny lines, like when Mutt finds out that this guy who's so badass, he's watching him do all this stuff. He's like, dude, this dude's incredible. He's like, dude, you're a teacher? And then Indy's like, part-time. So that was all right. So it has its moments, but they're few and far between. And, you know, going back to Mutt, when he meets Indy, neither knows their father and son yet. Mutt tells him that his mom, who turns out to be Marion from the first movie, along with Harold Oxley, who Mutt is close to, and is a former colleague of Indiana Jones. So both of them have been captured. Their lives are in danger after Oxley found the crystal skull, or a crystal skull, and this sets up the adventure. The villains in this one are Russians, and then the main villain's played by Cate Blanchett. She does a good job. It's a typical villain, nothing overly special, nothing terrible. But the choices in this movie, the Tarzan scene with the CGI monkeys, what in the hell is that? What the hell was that? It was horrible. The monkeys looked terrible. I mean, they looked good for a YouTube video or for something like that, but for a major release like Indiana Jones, who've had only real animals and mostly real practical effects. Of course, there's been CGI here and there, but nothing like this. This is just, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. The polar opposite of what the earlier movies looked like. Again, they took efforts to make everything look as real as possible by making it real when they could. But that aside, like, who thought the CGI monkey Tarzan scene was a good idea? How did that not get vetoed at some point? I have no clue. I know that the entire movie was shot in the US, so it's not really on location. Steven Spielberg wanted to stay close to his family, understandable. But that doesn't excuse some of the wild decisions of this film. Karen Allen is back. She's pretty good. There is more nonsense with her. Like, there's one point where they're driving in a Jeep or something and they're about to go off the cliff. And she's got this smirk on her face like, I got this. Like, stop. She's like, nuh-uh. Her plan is to go off the cliff, land on this huge branch somehow knows they're going to land on the branch. It's going to slow the Jeep down so it can land on the ground, and then it's going to snap back and hit the villains. How did she know that was going to work so perfectly? I have no idea. So much stuff is just over the top in this movie. And I know, again, the franchise is known for going a little over the top. But this one takes it into the realm of the ridiculousness. It's insane. I do like the character of Oxley, who has gone insane, played by John Hurt. He was somewhat interesting and at times funny. A few funny things happened to him. So there was some of the humor landed. But while in the last three movies, especially the third one, I'd say 90% of the humor landed. And the 10% that didn't wasn't cringe-worthy. It just, it was not that funny, but okay. This one, 10% lands. And the 90% that doesn't, the vast majority of that is just cringe as can be. And the third act, it's okay at best. It's missing some of the horror elements of the past film, like how the villain goes out. How does the villain go out here? Cate Blanchett, I think her name's Irina. She wants to have so much knowledge and begs the aliens, I want the knowledge, I want the knowledge. And she gets all the knowledge and her eyes bright up and everything lights up and she just like disintegrates or something. I mean, it wasn't as awesome as the previous villain deaths from the other three movies, not even close. But the crystal skull is eventually found. The alien, it's an alien head. It gets returned to the headless body of one of the aliens. So now the aliens can fly off, I guess, because they have everyone. I don't really know. I got lost. But this movie is more goofy than funny, more stupid than adventurous. The CGI, the look, the humor, none of it lined up with what you expect in an Indiana Jones movie. I don't know what went wrong. And even the stuff that was okay, the villain, maybe the storyline, the alien stuff, the action, it was still bad compared to the standard that was set with the original three movies. So in the end, all I can say about this movie is see it if you're bored of the original three after seeing them 50 times each and you just want a little new Indiana Jones, see this one. But stick to those original three for the most part. And I only hope that this new one is better than Crystal Skull. It doesn't seem like a high standard, but I honestly do not trust Disney. I do not trust Kathleen Kennedy, what the freak so ever, or Lucasfilm. I know that their focus is definitely not telling a good story lately, but I'm still going to check it out and hope for the best. You never know. Good screenwriters. It could be a few good, well-intentioned people as part of the project who could override all those who don't care, which is the higher ups. They genuinely don't care, just so you know. If you're a huge fan of Disney and Lucasfilm, they don't care about you. They probably don't like you, just so you know. But that aside, see it if you're bored. Other than that, this fourth movie is not that great. But let's hope for the best tonight. I'll have an out of the theater review more than likely, and tomorrow a full review of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But let me know what you guys think of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Is it as bad as I think? Is it worse? Is it like a hard pass? Is it freaking trash? I don't think it's trash, but definitely no better than see it if you're bored. So let me know what you guys think, though. We'll talk to you tonight.